So I'm here with Ali from Subconquest, Ali being the hypnotherapist that was on the show before. I came in and had a session with Ali recently, and now we're going to have a little bit of a chat about it. So Ali, I came in and did a session with you in the hut. Can you talk me through what your sessions are like? How, you're faced with people coming in like me, people quite uptight and scared to come in. So how do you cope with that for the first visit?
There's two ways really. One of the things that I do is the first visit is free of charge, and I make a point of saying that it's an initial consultation where you get to interview me and make sure I'm the right therapist for you. So straight away I'm putting the power back into their hands so that they're in control of that first meeting, and that eases it a little bit. But I am very aware that the people that come and find me, I'm pretty much their last resort, so to actually try anything again takes so much guts. So, the first thing I'll do is we'll sit here for 20 minutes and talk about absolutely anything but hypnotherapy, just to relax you, so I can get a feel for your personality type, so that we can begin to interact better together. Just completely cool it down, and I make it as much fun as I can, because it's the last thing people are expecting.
Yeah, that's, I think, what you did with me as well, actually. We sat in the kitchen for a little while, then we came out here, and you've got a great hut. It's a kind of garden.
My Hypnohut.
Hypnohut, yeah. It's like a summer house, really, isn't it? And it's a lovely place, actually, very relaxing and chilled out. And it's in the garden, and you hear the birds and all that kind of thing. So during my session, let's go back to that. At first, I was quite uptight, I guess, and you'd problems with me at first, didn't you? And we tried the number thing, counting backwards, and I wasn't doing that very well. And then you gently just kind of shifted into something else without me really realising it, and then gradually I started to relax and sort of chill out. And by the end of it, I felt very, very relaxed and chilled out, actually. That's normal, is it?
Yeah, but the difference between what I do and what a lot of other therapists do is I don't just have one technique, because one technique does not fit all. I started trying to get you relaxed by using a technique I'll use 70% of the time, but it was a technique that involves you being able to visualise. Now, if we'd have had a proper session sort of where we met and chat before, just by talking to you, I would know you can't visualise. So I wouldn't have even attempted that on you, but because we went straight into it, that's my excuse anyway. But no, seriously, that's another thing about the initial interview, so I can work out your personality type and what will work for you. As soon as I realised you couldn't visualise, if I'd have been trained anywhere except for where I was trained, I'd have been in a bit of trouble because I wouldn't have known another technique. But I was trained to have a toolbox that I can adapt to suit absolutely everyone that comes in. And the whole thing about, again, if you think about people that have come to me, they feel like they have failed. They wouldn't be here if they could solve their problems, so they feel like they've failed. So it's really, really important that whatever I do in here doesn't make them feel like they're failing. Yeah. So whatever I attempt to do, they have to feel and be succeeding, even if it's just relaxing into a trance. It's really important they feel they're getting that right. So it's up to me to make sure that I use the right approach.
I know that you've been really, really busy recently. You're getting lots of clients coming in, lots of different clients as well. And that must be quite a learning curve for you as well, I'm kind of imagining, as you're tackling different people and maybe some quite difficult cases that are coming in. That must be quite challenging for you too, actually.
It is, and it's not something that you can be taught while you're training to be a hypnotherapist. You talk techniques and how techniques will work with fears and phobias, smoking, maybe a little weight loss. But more and more, and I've noticed it the more that I work now, that I am attracting different types of clients, and they're coming with very, very varied issues. And there's a thing called secondary gain. An example, somebody that comes to me, they're overweight, and they think that their problem is they can't stop eating chocolate. So we deal with the chocolate issue, but they're still not losing the weight. Secondary gain is when there's a reason behind the obvious problem that they've presented with. And this particular example, this lady had some serious issues when she was a lot younger, and the weight was actually a subconscious way of keeping people away from her so that she wouldn't get emotionally damaged again. So until we got to the root of the problem, which is another thing that I specifically do, get to the root rather than cut branches off, we were never going to get her to lose weight. As soon as we realised what the weight was about. So no, it's learning on the job as you go, but it's just following procedures, knowing that all behaviour has a purpose, Find that root. If you find the root, everything else falls into place.
And going back to the session that we did, I can remember absolutely everything about it. So there's nothing scary about it. There was nothing frightening. I had my eyes shut, but I could hear your voice all the way through. I didn't actually feel like I'd been hypnotised. Now, you said that might well be the case, that a lot of people just don't feel. Or does anyone ever feel like they've been hypnotised? What does that feel like?
Yeah, people come with a preconception of what hypnotism is. They're expecting to not remember anything about the session and be completely out of control. And I always tell everybody that comes here, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get you to lie there and relax, and I'm going to get you to think about various things, and I'm going to be chatting away, and you'll listen to me or you won't. You'll hear everything I'm saying. You'll hear all the noises outside. And I promise you'll be lying there thinking, well, this isn't working. I'm not in a trance. Not good at all. But the other thing that I always do, before we start, I always say, this will take no more than 10 minutes. Is that all right? Just 10 minutes. I'm just going to chat away. You daydream, do whatever you want. At the end of a session, I ask them how long it took. And they said, 10 minutes, because that's what I've told them. The truth is it's usually half an hour to an hour. So they were in a trance, but in a controlled trance. So completely aware of everything going on.
And there were moments, actually, I remember you saying, in a moment, I'm going to speak to your subconscious, I think you said, or it was something close to that, in a way. So you were kind of differentiating between having a conversation with me and having a conversation with my subconscious. That's presumably quite deliberate as well. That's part of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, all the conversations that I have, you are aware of consciously because you're not asleep. But everything that I say has a purpose. My language is always quite eloquently vague because I'm not going to suggest anything to you. One, because you wouldn't take the suggestion. But two, everything you need to get you where you want to be, you've already got inside. It's locked away in your subconscious. And by being eloquently vague and actually saying, subconscious, are you listening? Your subconscious does actually pick up on what I'm saying. And certain key words, if say I'm speaking directly to your subconscious, I'm going to say certain key words that are relevant to helping you move on. And your subconscious takes those words on board at a very deep level, and that's what makes a difference and makes a change. Majority of hypnotherapists, literally, they are given a script, and most of them have to sit there and read it as well. And the reason that a hypnotherapist will make you shut your eyes, not me, by the way, but the reason a lot of them make you shut your eyes is so that you don't notice that they're sat here reading a piece of paper, the same piece of paper that they read for everybody that comes with the same issue you have. If you listen,
so
you'll
there's
hear.
a script for overweight, and they've got a script for smoking, and all that kind of thing.
Exactly, but it's not. I disagree with those, and I never use scripts. I completely trust myself to ad-lib based on everything I know about that person from our initial interview, because everyone's so very different. Their personality type's different. Mm-hmm. We've already discussed you couldn't visualise the numbers. Mm-hmm. So then I have to change my language as well, because if I'm asking you, if I say, and you might see this or you might see that, that's the wrong word to use with you because you don't see. I'd have to use feeling words with you because you feel things rather than visualise. And it's all about you doing that without a script and making it very, very specific. And that's what makes a difference between being a successful therapist and being one that drags it out for months and months and you don't feel like you're getting anywhere. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm getting the results as quick as I am, because I make the effort to make it about you. Yeah. And I can't keep a script about you because it will not work for anyone else. It's very individual every time.